Yeah,
Warm your butt cheeks up. Warm up your butt cheeks.
Cut there.
When you get the call from Marvel Studios, you better answer. Not only is it the opportunity of a lifetime, not only will you get the chance to play iconic heroes, beloved the world over, you also get some prime training to put your body into perfect superheroing shape. We've gathered together some of the most astounding actor transformations from the Marvel Cinematic Universe for your viewing pleasure. Not only did they reshape their physiques, in many cases, they reshaped their lives and careers too. Robert Downey Jr. might very well have one of the greatest comeback stories in the history of Hollywood.
I'm the best.
His career kicked off in the mid-80s with a less than successful stint on SNL.
Spider-Man told me!
Thankfully, things picked up for Downey Jr. when he appeared in a series of teen movie hits such as Weird Science and The Pickup Artist. Following these more comedic roles, he ended up taking the plunge into more dramatic fare. His role in the film Chaplin even earned him an Academy Award nomination. But during the mid-90s, things started to fall apart. His struggles with drug addiction came to the forefront, and his career suffered major setbacks. He was in and out of prison, and despite a successful stint on the hit TV show Ally McBeal, Downey Jr. couldn't seem to get his act together. Thankfully, at the turn of the century, he started to get his act together again, working double time to ensure a full recovery from his chaotic and harmful lifestyle. At first, it was a struggle. Very few people would hire Downey Jr. because of the insurance liabilities. But when Jon Favreau pushed Marvel Studios to cast him in the role of Tony Stark, the studio took a chance and the world has never been the same. Playing a beloved superhero also gave Downey Jr. the opportunity to bulk up, further emphasizing his new, healthier lifestyle. He went from a scrawny member of John Hughes' Brat Pack to the kind of guy who loves to show off his glorious muscular form while hammering metal. Our hero. While Chris Pratt's personal life thankfully never mirrored the trials and tribulations of Robert Downey Jr.'s, Pratt still experienced some significant changes once he was cast as Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, in James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Star-Lord.
Who? But many fans will recall Pratt's time as Andy Dwyer on the hilarious series Parks and Recreation. Andy was goofy, a bit clueless, and maintained a lovable teddy bear shape and demeanor. It wasn't Pratt's natural size and weight, but he maintained it for the duration of the series. In order to transform himself into Star-Lord, Pratt trained tirelessly for 3 or 4 hours a day to shape and tone his body from the doughy Andy to the muscular Star-Lord. Pratt's time on Parks and Rec resulted in audiences associating him with the goofball-type character. Few expected that he was capable of delivering a more serious performance. But even though the character of Peter Quill skews comedic, Guardians of the Galaxy gave Pratt plenty of more dramatic beats to play to. Now, he's one of Hollywood's top leading men, and it's all thanks to those incredible dance moves. Evan's career didn't start out that dissimilarly from Downey Jr.'s and Pratt's. He made his big breakthrough in the teen comedy Not Another Teen Movie before making his first foray into the world of Marvel. Really though, Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer might not have been great, but Evans made for a pretty solid Human Torch. When his first superhero stint fell through, he tried his hand at more dramatic fare, starring in films like Danny Boyle's science fiction flick Sunshine. Evans gave a fantastic comedic turn in Edgar Wright's Scott Pilgrim vs. the World too, but his second attempt at joining the Marvel ranks ended up being far more successful. Evans' turn as Steve Rogers has become one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's most beloved, and it's not difficult to understand why. Evans imbues the role with genuine humanity and sincerity. It doesn't hurt that he fills out that suit nicely. Not that he was ever in dire need of losing 60 pounds like his fellow Chris Pratt, but when Steve emerges from that pod, totally transformed, it's tough not to mutter an audible Keanu Reeves-inspired and we'd be remiss if we neglected to mention the final Chris in the MCU equation. Chris Hemsworth, the god of thunder himself. Unlike the other Chris's on our list, Hemsworth was relatively unknown when he first appeared in 2011's Thor. His biggest role up to that point had been in J.J. Abrams' first Star Trek film, where he played Captain Kirk's father, George Kirk. Hemsworth had already been in decent shape, but he still needed to prepare himself to take on the role. He trained with former Navy SEAL Duffy Gaver, the same trainer Chris Pratt would end up using to get in shape for Guardians of the Galaxy. They spent the majority of their training focusing on Hemsworth's arms and shoulders, probably to ensure that he was worthy of wielding Mjolnir.
You're all not worthy.
Hemsworth ended up gaining 20 pounds for the part and has maintained the look through the majority of his career.
Pretty cut.
Well, with the exception of Fat Thor, that is. Alright, enough with the dudes, let's give the ladies a little time to shine. Before getting cast as Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, Brie Larson had established herself as one of Hollywood's most impressive young talents. She appeared in films like Edgar Wright's Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Destin Daniel Cretton's Short Term 12. Her biggest breakthrough came in 2015's Room. The performance earned her her first Oscar for Best Actress. It wasn't much of a surprise when Marvel Studios cast Larson in the coveted role of Carol Danvers. Her talent is undeniable. It also wasn't much of a surprise that Larson engaged in an intense workout regimen to put her into superheroing shape. Lucky for us, she ended up posting many photos and videos of her training time to her social media accounts. One of her routines involved pushing an almost 5,000-pound Jeep for a full minute. Another involved weighted push-ups, where she would wear a heavy chain on her back while doing push-ups. Of course, there were the standard hip thrusts, walking lunges, and pull-ups, but honestly, that whole car thing has us super impressed. As you can no doubt tell from the film, all that hard work paid off. Though we're more than a little disappointed that there wasn't a scene involving Captain Marvel pushing a car up a hill. One of the most insane transformations we've seen come out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that of comedian/writer/actor Kumail Nanjiani's. When he posted a photo of his new physique on his Instagram in late December, some thought it was photoshopped. Turns out, it was the real deal, and Nanjiani was preparing for his role in Marvel's Eternals film. He said, quote, "I never thought I'd be one of those people who would post a thirsty shirtless," Nanjiani stated in the photo's caption, "but I've worked way too hard for too long, so here we are." It's a stark contrast from the Kumail Nanjiani people have come to know and love from his work in films like The Big Sick and TV shows like Silicon Valley. So how exactly did he pull off his new look? Turns out it was a year's worth of devoted training with some of the best trainers and nutritionists Marvel Studios could buy. So just think, dear viewer, you too could look just like Mr. Nanjiani. It's as easy as getting Marvel to hire you for one of their upcoming MCU films. You'll be the healthiest version of yourself that you've always wanted to be. And since we've broached the subject of skinny comedians turned muscular superheroes, let's talk a bit about Paul Rudd's transformation. Rudd's career kicked off in the mid-90s with roles in Clueless and Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. In the early 2000s, he joined up with the Judd Apatow comedy crew, which included the likes of Will Ferrell, Seth Rogen, Steve Carell, and Jonah Hill. His gloriously mustached turn as Brian Fantana confirmed Rudd's status as one of the funniest human beings on the planet. His likable, everyman quality made him the perfect candidate for Scott Lang in Marvel's Ant-Man.
I think our first move should be calling the Avengers.
But would that everyman quality translate to a muscular superhero form? Audiences were pleasantly surprised by 2015's Ant-Man to discover the 45-year-old actor had put in time at the gym. In an interview with Men's Journal, Rudd explained, "I was one of those people who always wanted the results but never wanted to put in the work." For Ant-Man and the Wasp, Rudd went even further. He kicked off every day with an hour of cardio, then breakfast and weights. He would do a second round of cardio 3 times a week for half an hour. So quit coming up with excuses and get to work. Get off your computer, go outside, exercise. But be sure to finish this video first. We're almost done. Last but not least in the slightest, the king of Wakanda himself, Mr. Chadwick Boseman. Before he got the call to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Boseman had established himself as a major talent with performances as Jackie Robinson in 42 and James Brown in Get On Up. These roles required acting chops and a level of physical fitness, so when the time came to play T'Challa in the character's first MCU appearance, Captain America: Civil War, Boseman was already off to a good start. It also didn't hurt that he already had a background in martial arts. To ensure he met the Black Panther's physical standards, Boseman worked an additional 4 hours a day with his personal trainer Addison Henderson. They took particular inspiration from Christopher Priest's Black Panther run. Henderson put great care into ensuring that Boseman matched the character's comic book physique, and that he didn't get too bulky. It was important for T'Challa to appear agile and quick on his feet. We rarely stopped moving during our sessions, Henderson explained to Men's Journal. We trained like we were going into the fight of our lives. How about those transformations, huh? Which ones impressed you the most? Were there any in particular that really blew you away? Let us know in the comments below and make sure you subscribe to our channel. That way, you can stay up to date.